welcome to your sleep story. I'm so glad you're here tonight. Whatever this day was, however long it felt, however much it carried, it is behind you now, completely behind you. You made it through, and that is everything. So let's begin. Before I take you anywhere tonight, I want to count you down from 10 to 1. And as I count, I want you to allow yourself to sink just a little deeper into wherever you are right now. Feel the weight of your body. Feel what is beneath you, holding you. And with each number, just let go a little more. 10. Allow your eyes to close. Gently, completely. There is nothing you need to see right now. 9. Feel your shoulders and let them drop as far as they want to go. 8. A slow breath in through the nose. 7. And all the way out. 6. Your hands. Feel them opening. Whatever you've been holding today, you can put it down now. 5. Your jaw is soft. Your face is soft. 4. Your legs are heavy, warm. 3. You're drifting, not asleep yet, but moving that way. 2. The day is behind you, completely and entirely behind you. 1. And now, tonight's sleep story, the relaxation. Before we go anywhere, I want to stay here with you for a moment. Just here, just now, because this moment, this exact moment right now, where you are lying in the quiet, deserves a little attention, a little kindness. Take a breath in for me, from the very bottom of the belly. Good, and let it go. And as you breathe out, I want you to imagine that everything you were carrying today, every worry, every unfinished thought, every heavy thing is just leaving with that breath, just drifting away. You don't have to solve anything tonight. You don't have to figure anything out. You don't have to be anything other than exactly what you are right now. A person who deserves rest. A person who deserves sleep. Because you do. You really do. Whatever happened today, however hard it felt, however much it carried, you made it through. You are here. And that is enough. That is more than enough. You are safe. And you are here. Bring your awareness gently to your feet now. Just notice them and allow them to soften. The toes uncurling, the arches releasing. All the small held tension of the day simply letting go. Let that softness travel upward, through the calves, through the knees, the thighs. All of it warm, all of it heavy, all of it resting now. Your lower back, your hips. Allow yourself to feel the surface beneath you taking your weight completely, fully. You don't have to hold yourself up anymore. The earth has you. The old stone walls have you. The belly soft, the chest soft, the heart beating steadily as it always has, as it always will. Your shoulders dropping, your arms heavy and warm, your hands open and still, the neck long and loose, and your face, let the jaw go. Let the forehead smooth. Let the eyes be completely still behind their lids. There you are, from the top of your head to the tips of your toes, completely soft, completely warm, completely at rest. You've done beautifully. Now, let me take you somewhere the Caucasus Mountains rise blue and white above a green valley. And the oldest wine tradition in the world is practiced in a farmhouse cellar that goes down into the red earth. And a grandmother who has been tending her cuve ever since before you were born sits in the cool underground dark, listening to the wine breathe. Come with me, the road into Kakchti. Imagine a road in the east of Georgia, Kakheti, the wine region, the heartland, a wide, flat valley floor running between two ridgelines, the Greater Caucasus to the north, their highest peaks carrying permanent snow, even in summer, and the lower, more forested ridges of the Inner Caucasian range to the south. The valley floor is vineyards, as far as you can see in both directions along the valley. Vineyards, the vines trained in the traditional Georgian style, their long canes held on wooden frames that run in rows toward the horizon. The leaves, at this particular autumn season, beginning to turn, the green softening toward yellow and copper, and the deep, warm red that certain Georgian varieties produce in the cooling weeks before harvest. The road passes through villages, each one small, each one built in the traditional Georgian manner. The low stone houses with their flat or very slightly pitched roofs, the wooden balconies that face the vine-covered yards, the ancient churchyard with its vines trained even among the graves, the particular deep red Caucasian clay of the unpaved paths between houses, the same red that colors the region's iconic earthenware, the same red that has colored this soil since long before the first vine was planted in it. The road descends slightly. A farmhouse appears at the valley's edge, backed against a small slope, its stone outbuildings arranged around a central yard, and in the slope behind the farmhouse, barely visible, a low door set into the earth. The cellar, the Marani. You walk toward it, the Emayarianai. The cellar door is ancient, heavy timber, iron-banded, the wood swollen slightly from the cellar's consistent underground moisture, requiring a firm, patient pull to open. You pull, cool air escapes immediately, not cold exactly, but the particular underground cool of a space dug into the earth and maintained year-round at the stable temperature that the surrounding soil provides, approximately 13 to 14 degrees Celsius, regardless of whether it is the height of a Caucasian summer above or the depth of a mountain winter. This temperature, stable, constant, is the whole reason the Marani is underground. Wine fermenting and then aging needs exactly this kind of temperature stability. Too warm, and the fermentation races past the point of quality. Too cold, and it arrests before completion, fluctuating, and the wine develops off notes and instabilities that no amount of subsequent care can correct. The underground Marani, dug into the slope behind the farmhouse in the traditional manner, maintains the correct conditions as naturally and as reliably as any modern temperature-controlled facility. through nothing more sophisticated than the thermal mass of several meters of red Georgian earth. You descend 3 stone steps. The door closes behind you. The first breath, the smell of the Marani. Let me describe this carefully, because it is one of the most complex and most specific smells available anywhere in this entire series of journeys. Wine first, but not the wine of a finished bottle, opened and poured. That is a simplified and somewhat stripped version of the smell you are receiving now. This is the smell of wine in its full, ongoing biological complexity. The smell of fermenting must grape juice in its active, living state. The yeasts consuming the sugars and producing alcohol and carbon dioxide and 100 other compounds, each one contributing something to the total aromatic picture. The smell of the cuvevri themselves, the enormous clay vessels buried in the floor, their interior surfaces treated with beeswax. The clay itself, over decades of use, having absorbed enough of the wine's chemistry to contribute its own mineral, slightly earthy note to everything that ferments within them. The smell of the pumice, the grape skins and seeds that remain in the fermenting wine throughout its maceration period in the traditional Georgian method. The amber wine developing its characteristic tannin and depth of color from this extended skin contact. The smell of wood, old beams, old wooden shelves along the walls holding bottles from previous year's harvests, the wooden tools of the winemaker, the long-handled mixing paddles used to push the pumice back down into the wine each morning. And beneath all of this, the earth itself, the red Caucasian clay, the smell of the soil from which the vines grew, now present in the walls of the cellar that stores their wine. The whole system completing itself in this underground space in a way that is both practical and, to the winemaker who tends it, something rather more than practical. You breathe it all in. Your eyes adjust to the cellar's lamplight. You say, the cuvevri, the vessels in the floor, the cuvevri. You have to look carefully to see them properly, because they are almost entirely underground. Only their mouths visible above the cellar floor's red earth surface, each opening perhaps 50 centimeters across, sealed now with a fitted stone or ceramic lid, the seals covered with a layer of beeswax pressed around the rim. Below the floor, the full vessel descends, egg-shaped, tapering to a rounded point at the base, each one typically between 200 and 1,000 liters in capacity, the specific size varying by the maker and the era of its creation. They are clay, made from the same red Caucasian earth that forms the valley floor, fired in kilns to the specific temperature that produces a water-permeable but wine-stable ceramic, porous enough to allow a very slow, gradual exchange of small amounts of oxygen through the vessel walls during the wine's long underground aging, but not so porous that the wine simply seeps away into the surrounding soil. This microoxygenation, the slow, controlled, extremely gradual introduction of oxygen to the aging wine through the clay walls, is one of the specific characteristics that gives Georgian Cuve wine its particular quality, its particular oxidative complexity, its particular depth of texture and flavor that distinguishes it clearly from wine aged in any other vessel. The oldest Cuve in this particular Marani dates, by family tradition and by the evidence of its construction style, to the early 19th century, perhaps 200 years old, in continuous use, fermenting and aging wine from the vines of this same family's vineyard every single autumn across those 2 centuries. Tamara, she is 72 years old. Her name is Tamara. She has been making wine in this Marani for 48 years. Since she married into the family that owns this farmhouse and these vineyards, coming as a young woman of 24 from a village in the same valley, bringing with her the winemaking knowledge her own family had taught her, and finding in her husband's family's older, more extensive tradition an even deeper well of accumulated practice than her own. Her husband, David, died 9 years ago. She has made the wine alone since then, or not quite alone. Her son, Georgi, helps through the harvest and the pressing, and her daughter-in-law, Nino, has been learning with increasing seriousness over the past 3 years, beginning to understand the specific requirements of this particular Marani's particular Cuve with the kind of growing, embodied knowledge that only repeated seasons of direct participation can produce. But the decisions are Tamara's. The morning check of the fermenting vessels, the judgment of when the pumice needs turning and when it should be left, the reading of the wine's color and clarity and smell at each stage of its progression, the determination of when the wine is ready to seal for the long underground aging, and when it is ready, months later, to be drawn off and bottled. These decisions require the kind of knowledge that 48 years of continuous practice in this specific Marani, with these specific varieties from these specific vines, has produced in Tamara's hands and nose and accumulated sensory memory. She is in the Marani now, in the evening's last check of the day, sitting on a low wooden stool beside the largest Cuve, a candle burning in a simple holder on the floor beside her, listening, LISDNNG, to the wine. What does a winemaker listen for? Let me explain, because this is not metaphorical. Tamara is genuinely, physically listening to the fermenting wine in the Cuve beside her. Active fermentation produces sound, a working ferment. The yeast cultures consuming sugars at their full, vigorous rate in the days immediately following crush, produces an audible, continuous bubbling, a sound somewhat like a very quiet conversation happening just below the surface. The carbon dioxide escaping through the wine in small, rapid bubbles that produce a soft, continuous effervescence. This sound tells Tamara that the fermentation is active and healthy. too loud, too vigorous ferment suggests a temperature that is running slightly high, the yeast working too fast, a warning to check the cellar's temperature and perhaps adjust the ventilation. A too quiet ferment suggests the opposite, the yeast working too slowly, possibly inhibited by temperature or by some nutritional deficiency that requires attention. And a silent vessel, a cuvevri that offers no sound at all when she presses her ear close to the clay rim, tells her that the primary fermentation has completed, that the wine has entered its next phase, that a different kind of attention is now required. She is listening now to the large cuvevri, a steady, quiet, continuous sound, the fermentation still active, still healthy, producing its soft effervescence at a rate that tells her everything is proceeding correctly. She nods, the way she has nodded on many thousands of similar evenings when the wine has been doing what the wine should be doing. Good. She will return in the morning. She always returns in the morning. The history of Georgian wine. Let me tell you something about the history of what Tamara is doing tonight, because it is the oldest continuous winemaking tradition in the world, and this distinction is not merely technical. It carries a cultural and historical weight that places this Marani in an extraordinary context. Georgia is the birthplace of wine. This claim, made on the basis of archaeological evidence rather than national pride, reflects the discovery of the oldest known grape pips and the oldest known wine residue in ceramic vessels, found at multiple Neolithic sites in Georgia's Cave Emo, Kartli region, dating to approximately 8,000 years ago. 8,000 years ago, when the first Georgian farmer pressed the first grape cluster and discovered that the resulting juice, left in a clay vessel underground through the winter, produced something altogether different and altogether more interesting than the juice itself. The transformation that would eventually become every wine tradition in the world was beginning here, in this red Caucasian earth. The cuvevri vessel itself, the particular egg-shaped, buried, beeswax-lined clay amphora, is present in Georgian winemaking records stretching back at least 4,000 years, and likely considerably longer. Its basic form essentially unchanged from its earliest documented examples to the vessel Tamara sits beside tonight. Unchanged, 4,000 years of the same basic vessel, the same clay, the same shape, the same principles, the same underground temperature, the same process of fermenting the whole grape, skin, seeds, juice together, and allowing the wine to develop its particular tannic, oxidative character in this particular, specific way. The wine tradition of France, Italy, Spain, all of the wine regions that most people think of when they think of wine are younger than Georgia's by thousands of years. Georgia did not learn winemaking from anyone. Everyone else, in a very real sense, learned at many removes, through many transformations from what began here. Tamara is not thinking about this tonight. She is simply listening to her wine. But it is there, in the walls of the Marani, in the ancient vessels in the floor, in the red earth that holds them, 8,000 years of continuous practice, pressing down through the centuries into this one quiet underground room on this autumn evening in Kakheti. The grapes, the harvest happened 2 weeks ago. Let me take you back there briefly, because the harvest is where everything in this cellar began. October in Kakheti, the particular October light of this high Caucasian valley, the mountains already wearing their autumn snow, the vine leaves at their most spectacular turning, the Arkatsitli variety showing long golden yellows, the Saparavi going deep crimson purple, the late varieties still holding some green. Tamara's vineyard is modest, perhaps 1 hectare of the old varieties, Arkatsitli, and a small plot of Saparavi, the white and red of the traditional Georgian palette. Both varieties with documented cultivation histories in this region stretching back many centuries. Both perfectly adapted to this specific combination of altitude, soil, and climate that Kakheti provides. The picking was done by hand, as it has always been done by hand. The family, neighbors, a few friends who come each year for the harvest as a matter of tradition as much as necessity. Gathering in the vineyard in the morning, moving through the rows with their harvest baskets, the grapes going in whole, handled carefully, the aim being to bring them to the Marani as complete and as undamaged as possible. The treading, the traditional Georgian pressing method, the grapes placed in the wooden trough, the Marani's stone-floored upper space where the family's pressing trough has stood since Tamara's husband's grandfather had it built, and trodden by foot, the oldest possible method of releasing the juice from the berry, producing a press that is gentler on the skins and seeds than any mechanical press, extracting the juice without crushing the seeds, which would release bitter compounds better left intact. The pressed must juice and skins and seeds together, the whole grape in its entirety, going directly into the waiting cuvevri, whose interiors Tamara spent a day cleaning and retreating with warm beeswax in the weeks before harvest. The same preparation she performs every year, the same her husband performed before her, the fermentation beginning within hours, the yeast cultures naturally present on the grape skins and in the Marani's own air, beginning their ancient, spontaneous work, the wine becoming itself, the amber wine, what the cuvevri produces from the white Arkatsitli grapes with their extended skin contact, is not a white wine in the conventional modern sense. It is amber wine, sometimes called orange wine in the international wine trade's terminology. Though this name, Tamara would tell you with gentle firmness, is inadequate to what she makes, invented by people unfamiliar with what was being made in these cellars for 8,000 years before the term was coined. The color, a deep, warm amber, somewhere between orange and bronze, and the particular burnished gold of old oak. The color comes from the grape skins, from the same phenolic compounds that give red wine its color, present in the white grape's skin in smaller concentrations and producing, with extended maceration in the cuvevri, this characteristic amber tone. The taste tannic in a way that white wine normally is not. The tannins from the skin contact giving the wine a structure and a gripping quality that wine drinkers accustomed only to conventional white wine find surprising. Nutty sometimes, dried fruit, apricot and quince, and something oxidative, honeyed, that comes from the slow microoxygenation of the aging in the clay vessel. Complex, deeply complex, the complexity of a wine produced not by manipulation or by the winemaker's arsenal of modern additives and techniques, but by the simple, patient, 8,000-year-old process of putting the whole grape in a clay pot underground and allowing time and temperature and the natural biology of the grape and its yeasts to do what they have always done in this particular place. The wine is the vineyard. The wine is the valley. The wine is Kakheti in a way that very few other foods or drinks achieve this direct, complete expression of their origin. The tools of the Marini along the wall, the tools that Tamara uses in the management of the fermenting wine, the mixing pole, long-handled, perhaps 2 meters, its paddle end worn smooth by decades of use, used each morning and evening during active fermentation to push the cap of grape skins back down into the wine. The cap forming naturally as the carbon dioxide bubbles carry the skins to the surface, where they must be regularly resubmerged to continue extracting their compounds and to prevent them drying out and becoming an entry point for unwanted bacteria. The basket, used for skimming away the small quantity of grape material that rises to the very surface and should be removed rather than resubmerged. The suction vessel, a long-handled, narrow-mouthed ceramic vessel, used to draw wine up from the cuvevri for tasting and assessment. The traditional Kakhetian winemaker's tool for monitoring the wine's progress without disturbing the vessel unduly. The thermometer. This is the one modern addition to the Marani's traditional toolkit that Tamara has accepted across her working years. A simple digital thermometer used to monitor the cellar's temperature and the wine's temperature, providing numerical confirmation of what her hands and the wine's behavior already tell her, but doing so with a precision that eliminates uncertainty on the few occasions when something seems slightly off. She trusts her senses. She also trusts the thermometer. Both things can be true. What the wine, TACHES, Tamara has thought, across 48 years of making wine in this Marani, about what this practice has taught her. It has taught her, first, something about the relationship between participation and restraint. Modern winemaking, she knows, can intervene in the winemaking process at almost every stage, adding cultured yeasts to ensure predictable fermentation, adding sulfites to control bacteria, adding fining agents to clarify the wine, adjusting acidity, managing temperature with mechanical precision. Her tradition asks her to do almost none of these things. The grape goes into the cuvery. The natural yeast begins the fermentation. The temperature is managed by the earth rather than by any machine. The clarity develops through gravity and time rather than through fining. The winemaker's role in this tradition is primarily to create the conditions: the clean vessel, the correct temperature, the managed cellar, and then to watch and listen and intervene only when something specifically requires intervention. This restraint, knowing when not to act, trusting the process, resisting the temptation to manage what does not need managing, has taught Tamara something she considers one of the most difficult and most important things a person in any position of responsibility ever learns: the wisdom of doing less, of trusting more, of understanding that some processes produce their best results when the skilled person's primary contribution is attention and patience rather than action. The wine also teaches something about continuity. Each bottle from this Marani carries, in its particular taste and character, the specific conditions of the specific vintage year: the rainfall, the temperature curve, the particular quality of that autumn's light on this specific slope's grapes. No 2 years produce identical wine, but across the years, across all of the variation, something persists. A character that belongs to this vineyard, to this soil, to these specific vessels, to this specific family's specific way of doing the work. This continuity of character, present in every bottle of every vintage, is what the French call terroir, and what Tamara simply calls this is our wine. The evening check, COMPLETD. Tamara rises from her stool. She goes to each of the other cuvevri in turn. 4 of them in this Marani, 2 large and 2 smaller, each at a different stage of the current vintage's progress. She listens. She lifts one stone lid briefly to check the surface of the wine in one of the smaller vessels, where the fermentation has been slower than usual this year, and she wants to confirm that it is still proceeding correctly rather than stalling. The smell that rises from the open vessel, rich, the specific, heady, complex smell of active Georgian amber wine fermentation. The Arcatsightly's particular floral notes cutting through the deeper, more oxidative base of the extended maceration. The whole thing warm and alive, and already possessing a character that suggests, even at this early stage, something worth waiting for. She replaces the lid. She presses fresh beeswax around the seal. She looks at the Marani, the candle flame, very still in this underground space where no air moves. The cuvevri mouths, sealed and patient. The wooden tools against the wall. The old bottles on the shelf. A nod. Good. The wine is doing what it should. She will check again in the morning. She will check again tomorrow evening, and the evening after, and the one after that, for as long as the wine requires this kind of attention, which is to say, for the full duration of the primary fermentation, perhaps 2 to 3 weeks more, and then, at a decreasing frequency, through the long months of the wine's underground aging. She extinguishes the candle. She climbs the 3 stone steps. She closes the heavy door behind her. The farmhouse above the Marani. Stone, like everything in this valley. A wooden balcony facing south toward the vineyards, where the afternoon sun makes sitting possible well into the autumn. A fig tree in the yard, its leaves now yellowing, its last figs gone. The grapevines climbing the farmhouse wall, their leaves turning, the harvest past, the vines beginning their winter rest. Inside, the smell of the kitchen. Nino has been cooking a traditional Georgian supper, lobiani, the spiced bean-filled bread that is one of the most comforting and most specifically Georgian foods. Or perhaps a walnut-based dish, the walnut being to Georgian cooking what the olive is to Mediterranean cooking, ubiquitous and indispensable. Georgi is at the table. Tamara washes her hands. She sits. The meal is eaten slowly. The conversation is ordinary. The vineyard, the wine's progress, the autumn's weather forecast, Georgia's young children and their school news. A glass of wine from last year's harvest, opened for the evening. The amber, tannic, deeply complex product of last autumn's Arkatsitely, now fully aged after its 12 months in the cuvevry and 6 months in the bottle. Tamara holds the glass up to the kitchen lamp briefly. The color, deep amber, warm, alive in the lamplight. She drinks. Good, still good. Last year was a good year. The Caucasus ate tea evening through the farmhouse window as the sun finally sets behind the western ridgeline. The Caucasus Mountains in the north begin their own evening transformation. The high peaks, already snow-covered, catch the alpenglow, the particular deep rose pink that the highest mountains acquire in the minutes, immediately after the sun has set from the valley floor, but is still striking the peaks at altitude, making them glow with a warm color, entirely unlike their usual blue-white austerity. Tamara has watched this same alpenglow from this same window for 48 years of autumns. She does not mention it. She simply looks. The mountains in the deepening evening, the vineyards below them, their work done for the year, the wine underground, the world above it proceeding at its own pace. The Mariani AT night. After the family has settled for the evening, the Marani continues its own quiet, underground work. The fermentation in the largest cuvevry, the one Tamara sat beside, listening, continues its steady, soft effervescence. The carbon dioxide rising through the wine in small, continuous bubbles. The alcohol building, the color deepening very gradually as the pumice's compounds continue their slow extraction into the liquid surrounding them. The yeast culture's working, as yeast cultures have worked in this particular Marani. For as long as this family has been making wine here, the temperature, stable at 14 degrees, held by the earth on every side, unchanged from last month, unchanged from last year, unchanged from the temperature. The first stones of this cellar's walls were set against, however many generations ago. The Cuvery breathing very slowly through their clay walls, the old bottles on the shelf standing undisturbed in their quiet, the wooden tools against the wall, the stone steps leading up to the closed door, the darkness, complete, underground, ancient, the darkness of a space that has held this process faithfully and without interruption for as long as this valley has grown grapes, and this family has turned them into wine. You are drifting. You are still in the Marani, in a sense, or resting somewhere very like it. The cool, stable underground air around you, the smell of fermenting amber wine still present, the Cuvery resting in the floor in their patient, sealed silence, the old bottles standing in their row. Tamara is in the farmhouse above. The wine is working in the dark. The mountains glow in the last alpenglow, then slowly darken. All of it here, all of it holding you. Your breathing has slowed to match the Marani's own deep, stable quiet. The quiet of a temperature constant underground space, sealed from the fluctuations of the world above, holding its steady 14 degrees through every season, through every passing year, through 8,000 years of wine being made in the same red Caucasian earth. This is what a Georgian wine cellar offers, if you allow yourself to receive it, even only in imagination, even only for this one quiet hour before your own sleep arrives. The deep, stable, completely reliable piece of a space that has been doing one thing consistently and well for longer than almost any other human practice anywhere on earth. The reassurance of a tradition so old and so well tested that the weight of its accumulated verification, 8,000 years of confirmation that this process, done this way, in this vessel, in this earth, produces something genuinely extraordinary, is itself a kind of comfort, the particular comfort of a thing that has been proved by time rather than by argument. You do not need to ferment anything tonight. You can simply rest, the way the wine rests in its sealed Cuvery, patient, working slowly in the dark, trusting that the process is proceeding correctly, that the temperature is stable, that the morning will come, and the morning check will confirm that all is well. The last things, the Marani rests in its underground dark. The Cuvery hold their wine, sealed and patient. The fermentation continues its soft, slow, invisible work. The beeswax seals hold. The temperature holds. The wooden tools rest against the wall. The old bottles stand in their row. The stone steps lead up to the closed door. Tamara is sleeping in the farmhouse above. The vineyards outside are dark and bare, and resting after their harvest. The fig tree in the yard is losing its last leaves. The Caucasus Mountains are dark shapes against the night sky. Their highest peaks are cold and white. The valley between them is warm and dark, and full of the sleeping vineyards and the sealed cellars of the families who have made wine in this earth for longer than any written language on this continent has existed. The Marani is dark. The Qvevri hold their wine. Sealed, patient, the fermentation works softly in the dark. The beeswax holds the seal, 14 degrees, constant as it has always been. The old bottles stand on their shelf, waiting. The wooden mixing pole rests against the wall. The basket, the suction vessel, everything in its place. Tamara is sleeping, her hands at rest. The morning will bring her back, as it always brings her back. The vineyards are dark above, their work done for this year. The mountains are dark against the night sky, white at the top, ancient, patient. The valley has been making wine for 8,000 years. 8,000, and tonight is simply one more night of that same patient making. You are held tonight too by this same deep, stable, ancient practice, by 8,000 years of confirmation that this process works, by the particular piece of something sealed and resting in good dark. You do not need to check anything tonight. The seals are holding. The temperature is stable. The wine is doing what the wine does. You only need to rest, the way the wine rests, in its sealed vessel, in the good dark, in the steady 14 degrees. You are safe. You are warm. You are held in the Marani, in Kakheti, in the old, warm, wine-dark Caucasian night. The Qvevri will keep their patient work till morning. The mountains will keep their watch. And you can simply rest. Good night, dear friend. Sleep well. Sleep deeply. Good night, and